So you're in a bind, you want to have a summer party, and with that, you want to get the lawn looking the best you can in very little amount of time, while being strongly aware of the fact that the amount of time you have is decreasing by the day. That, my friends, we're going to talk about today. What is up, everybody? I am Jake the Lawn Kid. Welcome back to yet another video today. As you heard in the very beginning of this video, we're going to be talking about 3 things that you can do to get your lawn ready for that summer party, that 4th of July party, that graduation party, fall party, whatever, you name it. A lot of you guys are probably planning on having some people over. Maybe you're going to have a little get-together on your backyard with your friends, your family, maybe a little fireworks, because that's something we always like to do up here. So assuming you're going to be doing that, you probably want to get the lawn ready. So what we're going to discuss today are going to be 3 things that you can do to get that lawn ready and looking good and set apart from the neighbors before that party. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing we're going to talk about is going to be mowing. Mowing is one of the most important things besides irrigating that you can do right now in times of stress in the summer where we have a lot of sunlight, the temperatures are high, and we don't have a lot of rain. It's important that we get mowing right so that we're not stressing out the turf. So assuming that most of you guys are mowing your lawns with a traditional rotary mower, you're probably going to be mowing your lawn at taller heights. So my cool season friends, if you're mowing Kentucky bluegrass or perennial rye, I highly recommend mowing at 3.5 to 4 inches. That's where it's going to look best. That's where it's going to look like carpet, and that's where it's less likely to lay over, as those 2 grass types are fine and flexible, and they're most likely to lay over. If you have a hardy grass type like fescue grass, which is less likely to lay over, I highly recommend mowing that taller. 4.5 to 5 inches, or really ideally however tall you can go with your mower, that's where you want to cut with fescue grass. Now there are a couple of reasons I recommend doing that. The first one is you're shading the root zone, right? As you have more leaf blade surface available, that's creating a shade for the root zone, which is going to allow you to trap a little bit of excess moisture in there, which in turn will keep that root zone wet for longer periods of time in the summer. And the second reason we want to leave the lawn that tall is for foliage reasons, right? The more leaf blade surface we have available to the sunlight, the more photosynthesis can occur and in turn push more growth in our lawns. So mow taller, more photosynthesis. Now while we're on the topic of mowing, I want to go ahead and talk about lawn striping for a minute, because lawn striping is another one of those things that you can implement within your mowing to set yourself apart from your neighbors, as 80 to 90% of them are not doing it. And on top of that, it just gives you that professional ballpark look that sets you apart right out the gate. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the science of lawn striping that I've talked about in this video, and we are going to use that to the best of our ability to set us apart. Let me explain how we're going to do that. So what you want to do is you want to figure out the best angle to point your lawn stripes that is going to get you the most traffic, the most amount of views, whether that would be from your neighbors driving up, your neighbors sitting in the driveway. For me, that's going to be pointing right at this 3-way intersection where my neighbors are driving in, sitting in their garages, barbecuing with their kids, you name it. They're going to see those stripes and they're going to be put to shame. So that's where I'm going to point them. I'm using a riding mower to make these stripes. I'm just going to create a pattern here going up and down, border to border with my tire marks to give it that extra professional look, and I'm just going to do that twice in a row, going up on the light stripes and down on the dark stripes to define them tenfold. Speaking of definition, it's a good idea that once you mow this striping pattern, I highly recommend that you stick with this exact same pattern for the next 3 to 4 mows, depending on how much time you have leading up to your event. So in my case, I'm shooting this on the 21st of June, so I have about a good 2.5 weeks before the 4th of July, and because I mow my lawn twice a week, I do one at the end of the week and one midweek, I can get in a good 3 to 4 mowings in this exact same pattern to define these stripes tenfold. So that would be my tip to you. If you are going to pick a striping pattern that best suits where your neighbors are going to see them from, stick with that pattern for the next 3 to 4 mowings to really define those stripes and up the contrast, if you will, between the light and dark lines to give you that ballpark look. Once you've gotten your mowing in lock, now it is time to go ahead and talk about fertility products. Now, more specifically, I'm going to recommend to you guys one of my favorite cocktails from my good friends over at Green County Fertilizer, and that is going to be what I have coined the n-ext Double Dark. 6 ounces of the 700 Green Effect and 9 ounces of the 002 Microgreen product. Now, a couple of the benefits you're going to get right out the gate. Number one is going to be an overabundance of iron. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, iron, it's a micronutrient that will actually give us that nice double dark blue-green look to our grass blades that will set us apart from the neighbors who mostly have emerald green lawns. Iron is the micronutrient that we're going to want here, and these two products have just that. And number two, we're also going to get an overabundance of micronutrients as well from the 002 Microgreen product. We have so many micronutrients in there, everything from sulfur, copper, zinc, manganese, you name it, we have it in there. It's nice to go ahead and implement those micronutrients, especially in the summer, to fill in those gaps, and with that, help the macros that we've been putting down all throughout the spring and fall. Iron and micronutrients, two of the greatest benefits we're going to get from this cocktail. All right, now the third and last thing we're going to talk about is going to be optional, and that is going to be weed control. If need be, if you have any clover in your lawn, which is a nuisance that we have to deal with here in the summer where I'm at, clover is just one of those nitrogen-stealing weeds that I do not want to deal with, so I want to go ahead and get it out of there. So what I recommend you do is taking your liquid concentrate weed control of choice. For me, that's going to be this Metso 4C Select. Really love this stuff. I've used it so many times this season. One setting I like to use it for in particular is if you are doing a spring seeding. Maybe you did a spring seeding, you're seeing weeds popping up in those newly seeded areas, and you want something that will kill those weeds but will not harm that new seed as it's still in a delicate state. What you want to do, whether you're going to use the Metso 4C Select or really any other DIY weed control that I've talked about, is you want to go ahead and mix that according to label directions, and you also want to add in what is called a surfactant. Now, as you guys have heard me talk about before, a surfactant, basically what it does with your weed control fungicides or foliar applications is it actually helps the product stick better to the leaf. In our case, we're spraying weeds, so what this is going to do is it's going to help the weed control better stick to the weed, which in turn will help it work a little bit faster and lead to more of a consistent kill. Now, in my case, I don't have a non-ionic surfactant that I can use, but I do have some dish soap. This will work just as well. Go ahead and put in about 1 ounce of dish soap per gallon of mixed weed control. In my case, I have about 2 gallons, so 2 ounces of dish soap is going to be just enough to give me that sticking agent that I need to help my weed control work faster. And then from here, it's just implementing the basics to integrated pest management that I've also talked about before on this channel, which is basically keeping the wand at knee height, walking the lawn in a grid, only spraying where you see weeds and not where you don't. Doing so will promise you the best results in getting those weeds gone literally before the event. So there you go, guys. That's all I have for you guys today with regards to prepping your lawn and getting it to look good for that summer party you have. Now, I will say this, if you are not irrigating, it's a great idea to make sure you're doing that. And on top of that, if you have been irrigating and you're dealing with a lot of humid conditions, now is also a great time to proactively get down a fungicide to prevent further fungus from coming in the lawn. And on top of that, if you also wanted to spike in an insecticide, as mosquitoes are a common problem for that, I highly recommend bifenthrin as my go-to for that application. If you guys want, I will leave links below to all of the products that I talked about that you can use for these particular instances. So that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about it. If you have any additional questions or comments, please leave those down below as well, and I'll try to get back to those as soon as I can. With that, I'm Jake the Lawn Kid. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. If I don't see you guys next time, your lawn is going to be dominated. I'll see you guys later. I don't know what it is, but every time I shoot in here, I always feel congested, right? Like my nose is running. It's every time I shoot in here. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's too cold in here, I don't know. But I always feel congested, and it always messes me up. When I'm in the flow, when I'm in the zone, and I'm dropping the knowledge, always happens. Oh, I am all over the map today. Literally, it's not good. I am all over the place today. I don't know. Oh! It's a good thing I have a bed right here. We're getting it done.